She experienced humiliation and was even detained directly within the VIP terminal of Rosebridge Airport. Dressed in an old hoodie and worn-out sneakers, she appeared strikingly ordinary amidst a waiting lounge filled with Italian suits and platinum-tier memberships. This type of passenger doesn't typically travel on a private jet, a security officer stated coldly. She was held under scrutinizing glances until the private jet of her billionaire husband arrived. Rosebridge Jet Terminal presented an image of immense wealth, with its polished marble floors reflecting the light of expensive chandeliers, and its tarmac accommodating Gulfstreams and Louis Vuitton suitcases. This exclusive airport, where Sapphire membership cards held greater significance than passports, resonated with the presence of tailored Armani suits, Louboutin heels, and the aroma of Tom Ford oud. The VIP lounge, designed as a lavish space of glass and velvet, catered exclusively to a select clientele, with staff in silk vests verifying access via platinum keycards. Past the lounge area, a private runway extended, its entrances secured for the wealthiest individuals. Claire Sutton entered the terminal, wearing a casual gray hoodie, faded sweatpants, and worn sneakers that made a soft sound on the marble flooring. At 30 years old, having grown up in a small, unassuming town, she had independently studied aerospace engineering while working as a mechanic, her life straightforward until she encountered Noah Sutton, the individual responsible for establishing Sutton Aerospace as a worldwide leader. A book and a water bottle were inside the small backpack she carried, her only belongings following a connecting domestic flight. The lounge's stairs seemed to divide her, as if sensing an approaching storm. Claire felt like an imperfection in the terminal's gleaming appearance, her backpack a disruption to the exclusive environment. A security officer, Victor Hayes, moved toward her, his Navy uniform immaculate, his badge shining. "This lounge is exclusively for private jet passengers," he stated, his voice drawing attention. A lounge attendant, wearing a $2,000 Gucci blazer, chuckled, bending towards their colleague. They likely gained entry searching for employment. Amusement spread through the lounge, passengers concealing smiles with perfectly shaped hands. Claire remained still, her hazel eyes fixed, her backpack over one shoulder. She had come to meet Noah, the man whose empire she'd secretly assisted in creating. A wave of frustration rippled through the onlookers, their emotions tightening at the dismissive behavior of these officials, their contempt a sharp contrast to Claire's gentle demeanor. The jeering grew louder, a harsh sound led by the terminal's influential members. Vanessa Klein, the lounge manager, stepped forward, her platinum blonde hair flowing over a form-fitting Versace dress, her red lipstick a vivid accent to her cool expression. At 29 years old, having grown up in Miami's affluent circles, she was known for maintaining strict standards of admittance. Claire's hoodie earned a scoff. "We're unable to verify your identity or your reason for being in the high-security zone," the officer stated, her voice crisp and firm. The passengers responded with laughter that reverberated against the glass walls. Vanessa, with a flick of her hair, released a cloud of Chanel perfume, a fragrance Claire knew Noah found unpleasant. Claire's fingers gripped her backpack, her expression composed, while the audience's anger escalated, their hearts racing at this direct challenge, Vanessa's confidence appearing sharp and cold. The criticism intensified, becoming a deliberate and unified attack on Claire's presence. Victor Hayes approached, his badge reflecting light, and indicated a side door. "Your baggage has not cleared VIP screening," he stated, his voice steady but not unkind. "Please proceed to the holding area for those suspected of making false statements." The crowd applauded, their Rolexes catching the light as they gestured for her to leave. A passenger wearing a $6,000 Brioni suit exclaimed, "You don't seem like someone who owns a private jet ticket." Amusement rippled through the group, with passengers bumping shoulders. A receptionist whispered, "She doesn't appear to be a tourist." Another commented, "That hoodie looks like it could be stolen, and she has the nerve to enter here?" The remarks felt like a heavy blow, each word a painful strike against Claire's quietness. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts aching for Claire, deeply upset by this group's persistent harshness. The travelers' disdain became sharp as Claire stood in the VIP lounge, their taunts a deliberate attack intended to undermine her resolve. Several technology leaders in $8,000 Seville Row suits assembled close to the velvet sofas, their words a spiteful blend. "She's a mark on Rosebridge's reputation," one remarked, gesturing with a platinum fountain pen in Claire's direction, highlighting her worn sneakers. Returning to the budget terminal, one individual brandished a black Amex card, exclaiming, "Her backpack appears to be from a flea market." The audience's laughter was loud, employees glancing at each other, their Rolexes reflecting the light. A private equity mogul declared, "She's an insult to every jet parked here." The jeers felt like a severe judgment, each word a sharp blow against Claire's composed demeanor. Noah's jet was visible on the tarmac beyond the glass, but the lounge's disapproval felt intensely heavy. The audience's anger escalated, their hearts racing, indignant at this planned injustice, their fury intense and ready to challenge the elite's pride. The staff's involvement aggravated the situation, their actions a new disappointment. A receptionist, Clara Holt, wearing a tailored blazer, approached, her voice laced with disdain. "Miss, the general terminal is that way," she stated, gesturing towards a concealed door, her smirk reflected by surrounding passengers. "We don't allow such guests in the VIP lounge," she added, which drew laughter from the group. Clara, 26 years old and raised in New Jersey, took pride in her role as a gatekeeper. The group's approval felt like a powerful current, their arrogance a very public rejection. Claire held her backpack, her hazel eyes unwavering, but the lounge's disapproval felt intensely heavy. The audience's anger surged, their hearts racing at this form of institutional rejection, their fury burning against Rosebridge's sanctity. Vanessa Klein's criticism became pointed, a deliberate attempt to embarrass Claire in front of the lounge's most distinguished members. "You're not just out of place, you're a source of embarrassment," she stated, her Versace dress catching the light as she indicated Claire's sweatpants. Sutton Aerospace would not permit such behavior, she insisted, within their facilities. Her companions laughed, the sound punctuated by the clicking of their Mont Blanc pens, their gazes shifting to Claire's backpack. Vanessa remarked, "She's a charity case, not a jet passenger," her voice carrying enough volume to hush the surrounding quiet sounds. The passengers responded with approval, their disapproval feeling overwhelming, their hushed tones filled with discontent. "She's a fake," they muttered. Claire's hazel eyes glowed with contained anger, but her smile remained steady, a defense against the feeling of being let down. The pavement shimmered outside the windows, but the lounge's disapproval felt like a heavy burden. The audience's anger surged, their feelings of sorrow for Claire evident, fueled by the manager's deception revealed. The passengers' resentment reached a high point, their voices a harsh and bitter wave. A technology executive in a $5,000 Canali suit leaned forward, his voice sharp and dismissive. "She's insignificant, likely here seeking a passage," he remarked, pointing at Claire's sweatpants. "Observe that backpack. Did she retrieve it from a refuse container?" His associates chuckled, displaying their platinum cards. A socialite declared, "She's an embarrassment to whoever let her in." Laughter echoed, each insult a dagger aimed at Claire's heart. A woman standing close by with her daughter murmured, "She's likely someone's housekeeper." Her daughter chuckled, adding, "Or a stowaway." The audience's anger surged, their hearts with Claire, their fury a tidal wave against this malicious slander, desperate for the truth to shatter the elite's lies. The lounge staff's disapproval became obvious, their behavior a public embarrassment intended to entertain the other passengers. A senior concierge, Richard Tate, addressed Claire close to the glass reception desk, his silk vest immaculate, his tone condescending. "Miss, this lounge is exclusively for verified jet passengers," he stated, ensuring the surrounding people could hear. He indicated her hoodie with a gesture, his smirk echoed by the nearby employees. "Rosebridge rarely permits such straightforwardness," he stated, which elicited laughter from those present. The group's acceptance felt overwhelming, their confidence a stark display. Claire held her backpack, her hazel eyes steady, but the lounge's disapproval felt oppressive. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts racing at this perceived injustice, their fury burning against the terminal's integrity. Claire remained silent, her eyes dry, her arms holding her backpack, a plain bag containing the book she's read on her flight, a gift for Noah. She was led to the isolation room, a cold space of glass and steel, its walls mirroring the lounge luxury. The door closed behind her, with Victor Hayes standing watch, his badge representing her confinement. The passengers' murmurs followed her. There lies a suffocating tide. She's a con artist. Claire's hazel eyes remained steady, her composure a quiet blaze. The audience's rage peaked, their hearts breaking for Claire, their fury a fire ready to consume the terminal's sanctity. The passengers' cruelty peaked as they spread vicious rumors, their voices a venomous storm echoing through the lounge. A hedge fund manager in a $9,000 Loro Piana suit leaned forward, his voice loud and cutting. He suggested she was a fraud, possibly having secured her place in the lounge through bribery, his friends agreeing, their cufflinks gleaming. Her marriage was also fabricated, simply a narrative to deceive Sutton. Another declared, raising his voice, "She's a con artist. Noah has been tricked." Derisive laughter erupted, each statement a painful blow to Claire. Employees shared falsehoods, their accusations multiplying rapidly. "She's after his wealth." Claire touched her backpack, maintaining a calm expression, though the group's malicious gossip felt overwhelming. The audience's anger surged, their feelings aligned with Claire, their outrage a powerful force seeking to expose the falsehoods of those in power. The sound of a jet engine broke the lounge's quiet atmosphere as a black Gulfstream G800 landed on the private runway, one of fewer than 20 such runways globally. The aircraft's polished exterior shone, its engines creating a loud noise that stopped the surrounding conversation. A VIP golf cart quickly moved towards the isolation zone, its tires squealing on the tarmac. Noah Sutton disembarked, his white shirt rolled up, his dark sunglasses glinting, projecting an aura of intensity. At 35, having grown up in Seattle, he had transformed Sutton Aerospace into a global empire, incorporating Rosebridge Jet Terminal through a corporate restructuring. He took off his sunglasses, revealing gray eyes as sharp as steel, and proceeded into the isolation room. "Why is my wife being held here?" His voice held no volume, yet it resonated with force. A wave of emotion rippled through the onlookers, their frustration giving way to expectation. Noah's revelation a beacon in the tension. Victor Hayes faltered, his official identification providing no protection. "I wasn't aware she—" Noah interrupted, his expression unwavering. "She has nothing to demonstrate. I am her confirmation of travel." The atmosphere became still, Vanessa Klein's Versace dress appearing deflated, her crimson lipstick a sharp contrast against her complexion. Noah opened the exit, approached Claire, and clasped her hand. "Are you weary?" he inquired, his voice gentle yet resolute. "The aircraft was prepared. Let's proceed." Claire smiled, her hazel eyes radiating warmth, her hoodie a subtle adornment. The travelers' cufflinks appeared less brilliant, their expressions strained with surprise. The crowd's sense of accomplishment grew, their hearts pounding as Noah's words altered the lounge's influence. Noah addressed the airport manager, his voice composed but firm. "I intended to maintain my stake in Rosebridge for an additional 2 years," he stated, "but today I have revised that decision." He hesitated, his gray eyes surveying the lounge. Detaining anyone for not wearing a suit in a gathering of those who believed themselves divine seemed inappropriate. Vanessa Klein recoiled, her Chanel perfume a sharp contrast to the situation. Noah's expression turned intense. "I'm not merely the largest investor in this airport, I possess 70% ownership of Rosebridge Jet Terminal." A chill permeated the lounge. The receptionist almost dropped her iPad, and the head of security paled. The audience erupted, their anger shifting to astonishment as Noah's actions began to dismantle the deception that had restricted Claire. The repercussions were swift, a judgment conveyed without a sound. Noah addressed Victor Hayes, his voice sharp and decisive. "You held the one I travel with," he stated. "Your time here is over, 5 minutes remaining." Victor's uniform seemed to shrink, his professional life collapsing. Noah then confronted Vanessa Klein, his gaze unwavering. "Your department's screening procedures? Discontinued. Access is permanently denied to all Sutton Group locations." Vanessa's Versace dress offered no protection. Her standing served as a warning. Noah addressed Clara Holt, the receptionist. "Your keycards have been disabled. Please clear your workspace. Clara appeared stunned, her role as gatekeeper now exposed. The onlooker's sense of disappointment shifted to jubilation, Claire's success affirmed by her husband's considerable influence. The isolation room felt dominated by Noah Sutton, his voice sharp and decisive, silencing the space enclosed by glass walls. You dared to detain Claire Sutton, the only soul worthy of this terminal, he declared, his gray eyes radiating a controlled fury. The validity of your badges, your protocols were irrelevant in the face of her truth. He presented a sleek tablet displaying a series of canceled agreements. Victor Hayes' security contracts, Vanessa Klein's management deals, and the staff's lounge privileges, all rescinded by Sutton Aerospace's board. Your names are removed from global aviation, he announced, his eyes focused on Victor. You have lost more than jobs, you have lost your futures. The audience reacted with shocked gasps, their empires collapsing under his direction. Claire stood beside him, her gray hoodie glowing, her triumph confirmed by Noah's consistent strength. The audience cheered, their spirits lifted as his worldwide justice defeated the elite's pride. Noah's gaze turned to the woman who had spoken, her daughter standing close behind. I heard you refer to her as a maid, he said, his voice slightly firm. I'll demonstrate the power even a so-called maid can possess, sufficient to result in your permanent membership cancellation. He retrieved his phone, activated it with a single button, and issued the command. The memberships of all individuals in Lounge 1A from the previous 2 hours were to be terminated. No justification was required. The socialite's platinum card became invalid, her standing negated. The tech mogul, who had previously ridiculed Claire's backpack, was led away, his agreements rescinded. Those passengers who had laughed concealed their Rolexes, their power diminished. The observers felt their hearts pound, their anger evolving into pride, Claire's victory shining brightly and humbling the lounge's prominent members. The downfall of the elite was a spectacle, their arrogance shattered under Noah's command. Vanessa Klein stumbled back, her Versace dress a mockery, her reputation a cautionary tale among the staff. Victor Hayes' badge was confiscated, his decades of service null, his escorts pushing him toward the service exit. Clara Holt's gatekeeping empire plummeted, her scorn a public wound, her belongings scattered. The hedge fund manager's deals collapsed, his slander exposed his lies. Those who'd flicked pens concealed their cufflinks, their memberships revoked. The staff who'd sneered were dismissed, their careers terminated. The socialite who'd whispered faced ostracism, her reputation diminished. Claire stood tall, her sneakers a subtle symbol of triumph, her hazel eyes unwavering. The audience's hearts resonated with emotion, their anger shifting to admiration. Claire's victory and Noah's anger shook the world's wealthiest in the terminal's esteemed halls. The terminal's hierarchy collapsed under Noah's direction. A thorough review revealed its deep-seated flaws. He addressed the airport's operations chief, his tone sharp and direct amidst the lounge's lavish surroundings. Your screening system is unacceptable, he stated, his gray eyes unwavering. Every procedure that caused distress to my wife is nullified, effective immediately. He activated his phone, and a wave of alerts flooded the staff's devices. Contracts terminated, permissions removed, entire departments dissolved. The socialite's daughter wept, her mother's membership a relic of a fallen empire. The tech mogul's jet remained on the tarmac, his influence non-existent. The receptionist who had laughed was escorted out, her iPad now inactive. Claire stood beside Noah, her backpack a silent declaration of her truth, her victory a bright spot in the terminal's fading light. The audience's hearts lifted, their anger shifting to triumph. Noah's fury a powerful force that washed away Rosebridge's arrogance. The details of Claire's history remained unknown, whether to the staff, Vanessa, or the passengers. When she was 20, she had rebuilt aircraft engines while studying late into the night, using her earnings to pay for textbooks. At 25, she encountered Noah at an aerospace expo, her understated intelligence captivating him amidst a crowd of showy personalities. Their marriage, a private ceremony on a Maine cliff, was founded on love, not financial resources. Vanessa's perfume, the staff's keycards, the passengers' suits, held no comparison to the resilience embodied by the backpack Claire carried. She now stood within the terminal, her rubber band a reminder of her integrity, her silence a consuming fire that exposed their deceit. Claire entered the Gulf Stream, still wearing her hoodie, holding Noah's hand. Her reflection appeared on the terminal's glass wall, portraying a composed woman passing 2 rows of people with lowered heads. The aircraft moved ahead, its engines creating a visible display of strength, leaving the lounge hushed. The chandeliers decreased in brightness, the marble floors no longer echoing with dominance. Noah turned to Claire, his gray eyes filled with concern. "Are you all right?" She responded with a nod, her hazel eyes following the curve of his smile. As the jet ascended, the autumn light diminished, revealing a line of the world's wealthiest individuals seeking her approval, their gestures a quiet acknowledgement of their previous treatment of her. She had experienced deep shame even being held. Within the exclusive VIP terminal of Rosebridge Airport, she appeared unassuming in an old hoodie and worn sneakers. Her appearance stood in stark contrast to the surroundings, a waiting lounge filled with Italian suits and platinum-tier memberships. The revelation arrived with undeniable force, and it couldn't be ignored. Everyone involved understood a crucial lesson. True authority isn't defined by appearance, it's established by presence, and the impact will be immediate. If you enjoyed this narrative, please like, share, and subscribe for similar stories. We'd love to hear from you. If you were Claire, what actions would you take? She endured ridicule, directly at the center of her former best friend's wedding. A plain linen dress, worn ballet flats, her hair partially tied. It was sufficient to make her the evening's object of amusement amid a gathering of elaborate designer gowns and professional makeup artistry. A glass of red wine was spilled onto her dress. A piercing laugh echoed, "Oops, sorry, you're mistaken. This isn't a charitable fundraiser." Eva Quinn remained motionless, holding her invitation, her expression composed. They were unaware of her identity. They perceived only a reserved woman and presumed she was holding onto outdated ways. Even the bride had only extended an invitation to showcase the accomplishments she believed she had acquired. However, their assessment was incorrect. The woman they had just embarrassed was the wife of the man who had recently acquired the very company the bride was boasting about. The Belvoir estate shimmered beneath a late September sky, its expansive lawns and marble terraces reimagined as a setting for Clara Wynn's wedding. Elegant chandeliers descended from silk-draped pergolas, scattering glittering light across tables adorned with gold-rimmed crystal glassware. Orchids overflowed from every available space, their fragrance blending with the cool evening air. Attendees, global influencers, CEOs, and minor royalty, circulated like stars in designer gowns and custom-made tuxedos, their laughter echoing as a harmonious expression of affluence. The event was live-streamed to millions, presented as a celebration of empowered womanhood, with Clara, the self-proclaimed Queen of Ellis, as the focal point. Drones buzzed above, recording all perspectives for a global audience. Eva Quinn appeared on the terrace, her square-neck linen dress flowing gently in the breeze, the light sage fabric draped simply, ending just above her ankles. The sound of her worn ballet flats echoed softly on the stone, and her auburn hair was arranged in a casual knot, with several strands loose around her face. She had no makeup, her skin radiating a healthy glow, and the only jewelry she wore was a simple silver ring on her left hand. She held a cream-colored envelope in her fingers, Clara's invitation, written in elegant but smug script, encouraging her to observe a new chapter. At 36, Eva possessed a striking appearance, her hazel eyes keen with a calm wisdom, her cheekbones catching the light. Her beauty possessed a quiet quality, like a confidence shared with only a few. She stopped near the group's perimeter, her eyes taking in the estate. She'd established Ellis from nothing, a dorm room vision of pure aesthetics, arising from late nights experimenting with compounds, while Clara playfully teased her for her dedicated passion. Eva provided the intellect and the drive, crafting products that transformed an entire sector. However, following her daughter's birth, when postpartum issues confined her to bed, Clara and their close friends acted. Her name had been removed, her work appropriated, and she had been forced out through a boardroom coup, leaving her with only a broken heart and a newborn child. Eva had withdrawn, opting for a peaceful existence, while Clara advanced on the foundation of her stolen achievements. A server in a shimmering gown moved closer, her smile restrained as she assessed Eva's attire. Catering personnel should use the side entrance, she indicated, gesturing toward a gravel path bordered by service vans. Eva's lips lifted slightly, her voice gentle but distinct. I am a guest, Eva Quinn. The invitation was presented, its wax seal intact. The hostess paused, examining it with a small gadget, then showed a look of concern. This appears authentic, but, she began, please wait here. She moved away, speaking quietly into her headset, leaving Eva to feel the attention of those around her. Other attendees began to observe her, their hushed tones disrupting the string quartet's music. A woman dressed in a sapphire gown, with emerald earrings, bent towards her escort. Is that linen? She inquired, her voice carrying across the room. Did she arrive from a craft fair? Her friend, Lila Hart, a tech heiress, laughed, her diamond bracelet flashing. It seemed likely she was here for the open bar. A man in a velvet tuxedo, his cufflinks glinting, joined in the laughter. No makeup, a rather daring choice for someone seeking financial gain. Their amusement spread, attracting more attention. Eva remained still, her hands clasped around the invitation, her expression calm. She sensed their stares, as pointed as needles, but they didn't affect her. She had overcome more challenging situations. The memory of hospital rooms, betrayal, and nights spent questioning her ability to rebuild felt distant, just background noise. She advanced towards the main pavilion when Clara Wynne materialized, radiant in a crystal-encrusted gown that glimmered like frost. Her blonde hair was styled in an updo, diamonds catching the light at her throat. She noticed Eva and paused, then offered a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Eva? Clara's voice was syrupy, audible to the nearby tables. Oh, you came. Don't worry. You are still welcome to attend this wedding, even if you are no longer the founder of Alyssa. The words had a sharp impact, and the crowd responded with laughter, quickly raising their phones to record the moment. Clara inclined her head, her smile becoming more pronounced. I mean, it has been years, hasn't it? You've moved on. She indicated toward Eva's dress, her tone laced with what seemed like pity. Eva's gaze met Clara's, remaining calm and resolute, but she did not speak. Eva's silence appeared to disconcert Clara, who laughed again, louder this time. Please, let's all be considerate, she said, gesturing with her hand. Eva is someone I've known for a long time. Let her appreciate the scenery. She moved away, her dress trailing on the floor as attendees murmured, their voices a quiet disapproval. An old acquaintance? Lila Hartskoft. More accurately, a relic of the past. The master of ceremonies, a polished man called Trevor Kane with a sharp smile, stepped onto the platform, his microphone shining. Please take your seats, he announced, his gaze sweeping across the assembly. He noticed Eva and hesitated, his smile growing. He indicated a designated area for certain attendees, gesturing toward a table close to the catering staff, situated behind a service station filled with trays. Right there, miss. That's ideal for you. Laughter rippled through the room, a harsh sound that bounced off the marble. A waiter, seemingly believing Eva was an employee, presented her with a tray of champagne flutes. Hurry up. They're waiting, he said, then appeared confused when she politely refused, her voice steady. I'm not serving tonight. Eva was seated at her corner table when a catering manager in a crisp suit approached, his face flushed with irritation. You are in the incorrect location, he stated, his voice loud enough for nearby guests to turn. Staff do not sit with guests. Please move. He grasped her arm, pulling her up as her chair scraped the marble, drawing stares. Don't feign ignorance, he hissed, misinterpreting her silence as resistance. Guests applauded, one person shouting, "Send her to wash dishes." A woman tossed a napkin at her, laughing, "Start cleaning. Honey." A drone overhead focused on her misstep, sharing it with millions. Eva regained her balance, her invitation shifting a little, but her expression showed no fear, only a calm determination that contrasted with their excitement. Eva proceeded to the table, her movements deliberate, and took a seat, maintaining a straight posture, the invitation still in her grasp. The other attendees at the table, mostly secondary guests and a few hesitant relatives, didn't meet her eyes, their unease obvious. Close by, a cluster of influencers in bright dresses recorded themselves, their voices carrying. "She's giving thrift store vibes," one commented, focusing the camera on Eva's flats. "Does she realize this is being streamed to millions?" Another remarked, her lips gleaming. "Bet she's here to request a position with Clara." Their audience responded enthusiastically, with comments appearing rapidly. "Loser alert. Why is she even here?" As Eva stood close to the pavilion, a group of attendees approached, their eyes reflecting hostility. A woman in a pearl-encrusted gown, her lipstick sharp as her tongue, moved forward. "Why is she present here?" She expressed disdain, her voice audible to everyone. "Clara is too compassionate, allowing those in need to enter." Her escort, a man with a gold watch, threw a shrimp from his plate at Eva's feet, smiling. "Retrieve, dear." The assembly erupted, phones recording as others participated, scattering morsels, murmuring, "She is insignificant now." A young influencer declared, "Let's make her infamous for being pitiable," inciting further laughter. Eva's hands were steady as she held her invitation, her gaze fixed forward, yet the atmosphere grew heavy with their malice, a display fueled by her silence. Clara's inner circle, the women who'd assisted her in acquiring a license, gathered near the bridal platform, their laughter as cutting as shards of glass. Margot Rees, a former chemist who had taken Eva's formulas, inclined her head towards Sloane Carter, the marketing expert who had revised Eva's narrative. "Look at her," Margot said, her ruby necklace catching the light, seated with the staff, utterly pathetic. Sloane smiled, enjoying her martini. Clara's talent was intriguing her. It seemed to suggest she wouldn't disapprove. They touched glasses, their attention on Eva, who remained impassive, her eyes focused on the stage where Clara was about to speak. The audience's antagonism became more pronounced, encouraged by champagne and Clara's challenge. A gentleman in a bow tie, his face red, bent toward Eva's table, his voice unsteady. "Hey, servant, get me a drink," his companions shouted, one throwing an olive from his martini, observing it travel across her lap. A muffled exclamation drew laughter. A woman wearing a feathered headpiece dismissed Eva with a disdainful gesture, her voice laced with mockery. "You're disrupting the decor, dear. Perhaps you're better suited for the kitchen." Cameras quickly recorded the olive stain, the discarded napkin, and the mark on her dress resulting from the incident. Eva's grip tightened on her invitation, yet her expression remained calm, displaying a quiet resolve that made their comments appear frantic. Trevor Kane returned to the microphone, his smile now more pronounced. "Before our bride speaks, let's acknowledge our unexpected guests." He gestured toward Eva, the spotlight shifting to her table, momentarily obscuring her. "Who invited the vintage shop? Huh?" The crowd responded with enthusiastic applause. Trevor Kane approached the microphone, his eyes twinkling as he focused on Eva again. "Folks, we have a remarkable story here," he announced, the spotlight highlighting her. "Miss Thrift Shop believes she's a guest, but let's be honest, she's here for the refreshments." The audience roared, their phones raised, recording as he spoke on, suggesting, "She's probably prepared a sad tale. Let's hear it, Eva, and have a cry with us." A spectator tossed a bread roll, striking her shoulder, while another yelled, "Give her a gift bag and remove her." The live broadcast intensified, the comment section filled with harsh remarks. "Complete failure. Clara dominates." Eva wiped away the crumbs, her face calm, her quietness a barrier against their anger. A drone approached, its camera focused on her, displaying her soiled dress to the public. Online comments exploded, a wave of dismay. Calls for her removal echoed. Eva remained composed, the bright stage lights illuminating her face, but her gaze didn't falter, fixed on Clara, who smiled from the stage, clearly enjoying the attention. Clara approached the microphone, her voice rich and controlled. "Thank you all for celebrating with me," she began, her gown shimmering under the lights. "This wedding isn't just about love, it's about my journey. The list was my vision, my hard work, my victory. I created it from the ground up, And tonight, I am here as evidence that a woman can achieve everything she desires. The audience responded with enthusiastic applause, the sound reverberating as Clara's gaze briefly met Eva's, a spark of triumph visible in her eyes. Some individuals begin with great momentum but eventually diminish, she continued, her words deliberately sharp. Clara interrupted her address, her eyes fixed on Eva with a triumphant expression. "Oh, let's remember where we came from," she said, her voice laced with insincere warmth. "Eva, you instructed me significantly about yielding." The crowd's applause was sharp and intense as Clara indicated Eva's table, the spotlight shifting to emphasize her stained dress. "Look at her, still so unassuming," Clara remarked, eliciting surprised reactions and laughter. A guest called out, "Back to the basement, Eva." As others recorded with their phones, Clara moved closer to the microphone and added, "Some people simply aren't suited for the spotlight." Eva remained composed, her hazel eyes unwavering, a quiet strength setting her apart from their animosity. She stated, "Others, like me, ascend and continue ascending." The applause grew, but Eva's gaze remained steady, her silence more impactful than Clara's words. Her voice continued, even as Clara spoke. A woman wearing a gold dress, her influencer status evident in her carefully posed posture, whispered to her companion, gesturing towards Eva. "She's probably homeless now," she murmured, nodding. Clara added that she had failed after losing Elise. Her companion, a hedge fund employee named Derek, laughed, the sound audible to Eva's table. "Bet she's here to get a free meal," he said. He inadvertently nudged his fork in her direction, causing it to fall with a clatter at her feet. "Pick it up, darling," he said, which elicited laughter. The drone recorded everything, and online platforms quickly amplified Eva's perceived embarrassment, with memes already circulating. Alyssa's forgotten founder. Eva dismissed the fork with her foot, her actions purposeful, her composure serving as a defense against the public's reaction. Following this, a deep vibration filled the air, resembling thunder across the estate. Attention shifted, drinks halted in midair as a helicopter descended, its blades cutting through the evening light. It touched down on a lawn nearby, scattering petals and dust, its polished, black exterior a striking contrast to the wedding's soft colors. The assembled guests murmured, cameras adjusting to record it, live stream viewership surging to millions. A man emerged, his tuxedo immaculate, his demeanor commanding the attention of everyone present. Asher Dorian, the famously private billionaire and renowned master of global mergers, a name spoken with a mix of apprehension and admiration. His dark hair was swept back, his gray eyes scanning the crowd with a predator's focus. He moved past the guests without a word, their gasps trailing him like shadows. Asher's steps were deliberate, crossing the terrace in long strides, ignoring the bridal dais, Clara's speech, the entire spectacle. His eyes found Eva and the world seemed to pause. She stood, her stained dress catching the chandelier light, and she took his hand, her touch steady, familiar. A hush fell over the audience, their amusement abruptly silenced. Clara's microphone malfunctioned, her speech fading, and her complexion lost color beneath her veil. Trevor Kane's smile disappeared, his hands awkwardly adjusting the microphone stand. The drone focused, showing Asher's hand clasped with Eva's, her silver ring catching the light like a promise. Asher then turned to Trevor, his voice calm but powerful, breaking the stillness. "Please accept my apologies for this interruption. I have a few important announcements regarding the company the bride has been so enthusiastically promoting." He paused, allowing the anticipation to linger, his gaze sweeping the assembled group. A complete roster had been obtained this morning, all shares, every patent, every formula, and the new legal representative. He looked at Eva, his eyes softening briefly. "My wife." Gasps spread through the estate, phones clattered, and live streams erupted with commentary. "What? Eva's back?" Eva moved forward, her footsteps echoing on the marble, and ascended the stage. Her stained dress, a symbol of their cruelty. Clara recoiled, her gown snagging on the microphone stand, her diamonds appearing lackluster beside Eva's serene glow. Eva grasped the microphone, her voice steady and controlled, reminiscent of a deep flowing river. Thank you, Clara, for supporting my brand for the last few years. I didn't come here to disrupt your wedding. I came to reclaim what had been wrongfully taken. The audience fell silent, their previous disapproval now overshadowed by astonishment. Julian Holt, Clara's fiancé and heir to a shipping dynasty, rose from the head table, his expression strained with anger. He moved toward Clara, speaking in a quiet but clear voice that reached the nearby guests. You lied, he stated, his words precise about everything. He removed the engagement ring from her finger, the emerald flashing as he dropped it to the floor. We are finished. Clara's reality shattered as Eva's words lingered, her diamond veil shifting as she stumbled away. Guests averted their gazes, their hushed voices cutting through the air. Did she take everything? Eva truly is remarkable. Her phone vibrated with urgent messages, Alyssa's removal from the board and the departure of sponsors. The livestream, previously her platform, exposed her, displaying a frozen image with mascara running. Someone who had applauded Eva's speech now questioned her integrity, whispering, fraud. Clara attempted to offer a statement, but her microphone malfunctioned, the resulting quiet intensely noticeable. The realm she had constructed, founded upon Eva's talent, crumbled within moments, her reputation becoming a cautionary tale, her former prestige now reduced to dust before Eva. He walked off the stage, past the stunned crowd, and disappeared into the estate, leaving Clara alone under the spotlight. Clara's composure faltered, her hands trembling as she gripped the microphone. This isn't true, she exclaimed, her voice high-pitched, but the crowd didn't react. Phones vibrated, headlines developing. Alyssa founder reclaims throne at wedding scandal. The live stream increased to 10 million viewers with comments pouring in. Clara's a fraud. Eva's iconic. Margot and Sloane, Clara's collaborators, attempted to leave, but drones tracked them, displaying their faces on screens globally. Their careers, established upon Eva's misappropriated work, disintegrated as it happened, with sponsors withdrawing and their names becoming prominent for negative attention. Eva exited the stage, Asher beside her, their hands still connected. She did not look at Clara, nor did she revel in the disorder. Her lack of comment conveyed a message, her reality more impactful than any insult. The audience cleared a path. The murmurs had shifted to expressions of wonder, sorrow, and embarrassment. Trevor Kane, his usual confident hosting demeanor absent, offered a quiet apology, but Eva remained silent. She had sought justice, and she achieved it without needing to speak. Before the evening concluded, Julian's family, the Holts, released a formal declaration, severing all connections with Clara and her business endeavors. Her influence, her contracts, her public image, and her carefully constructed narrative crumbled swiftly. Online platforms reacted harshly, featuring memes of her surprised expression with the caption, "Thief Bride." The wedding guests who had previously mocked Eva now confronted their own consequences. Lila Hart's startup experienced a loss of funding, Derek's hedge fund encountered audits, their identities linked to Clara's fraud. The public followed intently as Eva's resolute actions altered the narrative. By morning, the wedding's guest list was a casualty of ruined reputations. Lila Hart's startup ceased operations, investors pointing to damaging public perception following her viral comments. Derek's hedge fund faced lawsuits, his clients bailing as Derek downtrended. Margot and Sloane, Clara's allies, lost their board seats, their names removed from Alyssa's records. The influencer in gold, her video ridiculing Eva now notorious, witnessed her transactions disappear, followers shifting with fake glam. Attendees who'd chuckled retreated, their apologies disregarded, and their brands exiled by Asher's network. Eva's veracity, understated yet unwavering, consumed their realities, her poise the instrument delivering the most profound damage. Asher and Eva halted at the terrace's edge, the helicopter awaiting them beyond the lawn. He regarded her, speaking softly. You weren't obligated to do this. She smiled, her hazel eyes reflecting the starlight. I chose to. It was for me. She briefly looked back at the estate, observing Clara's silhouette, now solitary under the chandeliers, and then turned away, her movements graceful, her ring sparkling. They proceeded toward the helicopter, the night belonging to them, the world irrevocably altered. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe for more impactful stories like this one. She experienced ridicule, physical contact, and was expelled from the Orem Wellness Spa, solely due to her attire, a simple white dress and flats, as opposed to more elaborate jewelry and heels. Her reservation was visibly ripped before her. Derisive laughter trailed her as she exited into the snow. The following morning, her husband's private jet touched down on the mountain. This was no ordinary jet. It was the custom G800, distinguished by E-stone etched in silver. As he disembarked, those who had previously demeaned her were visibly stunned. They were completely mistaken. Snow spiraled through the sharp peaks of the Swiss Alps, coating the glass walls of the Orem Wellness Spa with glittering crystalline particles resembling diamonds. Within, the atmosphere was heavy with the aroma of eucalyptus and the sound of privileged comfort. Patrons, adorned in cashmere robes, enjoyed matcha lattes as attendants applied 24-karat gold facial masks. Ella Stone entered through the substantial doors, her white cotton dress gently swaying around her legs, her flats making no sound on the marble flooring. Her dark hair was styled in a relaxed half-updo, her face unadorned by makeup, glowing but tired from weeks immersed in floodwaters, reconstructing a village in East Africa. She carried nothing but a quiet elegance that appeared incongruous with the luxury surrounding her. The receptionist observed her closely, her lips forming a dismissive expression. "This is a luxury spa, not a donation drop-off." Laughter spread through the lounge and Ella's heart felt a pang. She hadn't come seeking their approval. She'd come for relaxation, but what followed would shake this mountaintop. The Orem Wellness Spa was a haven of privilege situated at 8,000 feet, reachable only by private helicopter or a winding road designated for the world's elite. The gathering included a distinguished assembly of royalty, CEOs, and celebrities, with attendance secured through a Royal Gold Tier membership or a highly sought-after invitation. Ella, aged 32, appeared out of place. Her dress, understated and without visible branding, showed slight wrinkles from her luggage. Her shoes, functional and showing wear, made a subtle squeaking sound on the gleaming floor. However, her beauty, genuine and without artifice, attracted glances, though not the type she desired. She moved toward the reception desk, her hazel eyes focused, her voice gentle yet distinct. "Good afternoon," Ella said, offering a small smile. "I have a reservation under Ella Stone." The receptionist, Claire, a woman with sleek blonde hair and a diamond-studded name tag, barely looked up from her screen. Her fingers paused as she typed, and she tilted her head, assessing Ella with undisguised disdain. "A reservation?" Claire repeated, her tone sharp. "This is an exclusive spa. Reservations are for members only. Maybe you had a reservation at the lodge further down the valley?" Ella's smile remained steady, although her fingers pressed a little more firmly around the phone. "No, I'm positive it's here. I made the booking online last week. Would you mind checking again, please?" Claire let out a sigh, her carefully done nails striking the keyboard with deliberate slowness. Guests in the nearby lounge, women in designer loungewear, men with Rolexes glinting, glanced over, their whispers growing louder. A woman with a platinum bob, her face shimmering with gold flakes, leaned toward her companion. She whispered, loud enough for Ella to hear. "Looks like she walked here from a tent." Her friend, a man in a tailored blazer, chuckled, probably chasing Instagram clout. Pathetic. As Ella stood at the reception desk, a woman in a velvet robe rose from the lounge, her diamond earrings catching the light. "Excuse me," she said, her voice laced with mockery. "Is this a new charity event? Are we sponsoring refugees now?" Laughter erupted in the room, guests applauding as if she's made a joke. She moved closer, her gaze sweeping over Ella's dress with disapproval. "Honestly, darling, you're embarrassing yourself. Go back to wherever you came from." Ella's fingers gripped her phone, her face composed but her heart racing beneath their amusement. Ella felt her cheeks flush, but she maintained her gaze on Claire, ignoring the people around them. She had endured more challenging circumstances, including floods, famine, and heartbreak. This felt insignificant in comparison. However, the impact of their disapproval remained, a subtle discomfort settling beneath her composed demeanor. Claire's eyes shifted between the screen and Ella, her expression becoming stern. "There's no Ella Stone in our system," she stated plainly. "Are you certain you didn't reserve a spot under a different name, or possibly someone else's?" Claire bent across the counter, raising her voice to be heard by everyone present. "Let's be clear," she stated, gesturing towards Ella's dress. "This spa has a reputation to uphold. You look like you haven't seen a mirror in years. Did you think you could simply enter here?" She glanced towards the lounge, encouraging their amusement with a dramatic shrug. Seriously, how did she even get past the gate? The crowd responded with boisterous laughter, some capturing images with their phones, the flashes resembling vultures circling prey. Ella remained still, her poise unwavering, but the pain of being the center of attention was intense. The suggestion lingered, a weighty accusation. Ella appeared to be an imposter, an unwelcome presence in their luxurious environment. Just as she was about to speak, a man in a tailored suit approached from the lounge. This was Victor Lang, the spa's guest relations manager, known for identifying concerns before they disturbed the atmosphere. His lips tightened into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Is there a problem, Claire?" Victor inquired, his voice calm yet firm. Claire indicated Ella, her tone full of derision. "This visitor states she possesses a reservation, but we have no corresponding entry. I had been detailing our membership guidelines." Victor's eyes moved over Ella, pausing on her dress, her footwear, and her unadorned hands. "I understand," he stated, joining his hands behind his back. Victor approached, his polished shoes clicking distinctly. "Let's resolve this," he said, moving around Ella as if a hunter assessing a prize. He hesitated, examining her with deliberate attention, then scoffed. "No makeup, no jewelry, no elegance. Did you believe we wouldn't see?" He indicated her flats, his voice carrying across the lounge. "Those shoes belong in a second-hand shop, not Orem. You're not just out of place, you're a slight to our guests." Laughter rose, guests concurring, their disapproval a pressing tide. Ella faced his look, unwavering, yet the atmosphere around her felt denser, tinged with their disdain. "Madam, the Orem Spa is reserved for Royal Gold Tier members, or those with private invitations. Without proper credentials, I'm afraid you don't meet our standards." "I have a confirmation email," Ella said evenly, pulling out her phone. She opened the message, displaying a booking code and payment receipt. "It's right here." Victor didn't bother looking at the screen. He waved a hand dismissively, as if swatting away an insect. "Emails can be fabricated or borrowed," he said. The system was confirmed as complete. My name was absent. A wave of quiet laughter spread through the lounge, the guests ceasing their attempts to overlook what was happening. A woman wearing a robe with fur trim remarked, perhaps she located the code on a promotional website. Her companions chuckled, their gold masks wrinkling. Ella's expression hardened, but she refrained from responding. She put away her phone, her actions measured and controlled, preserving her composure against their unkindness. "I understand," she said softly. "I will depart." "Oh, not quite," Claire stated, her voice suddenly firm. She indicated a security guard positioned close to the entrance, a large man named Rolf, who had a buzz cut and a stern expression. "We do not permit unauthorized entry," she stated. "Rolf will make sure you are directed to the exit." Rolf advanced, his boots making a heavy sound on the marble floor. "This way," he said gruffly, pointing towards the glass doors. Outside, snow fell in dense curtains, and the wind roared against the mountainside. Ella paused, glancing at the confirmation email one last time. She had the option to contest this, request a re-examination, or challenge their assertion. However, the pressure of their gazes, the confident expressions on their faces, indicated it would be futile. This was not the place, and this was not the moment. She stood tall, raising her chin a little. "Thank you for your time," she stated, her voice even despite the shame she felt within. She pivoted and proceeded towards the exit, Rolf following closely. While passing the lounge, a man wearing a silk scarf murmured, I bet she borrowed someone's booking code or found it online. His companion chuckled, lifting a glass of sparkling water in a playful salute. As Ella turned towards the doors, a group of guests located near the lounge rose, their voices forming a taunting chant. Out, 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 they called, clapping in time, their gold masks shimmering like harsh reflections. One threw a crumpled napkin at her, snickering, "Take that for your next booking." Someone yelled, "Don't return unless you learn to dress." The chanting intensified, a surge of mockery tracking her movements. Ella kept her shoulders straight, her steps even, but each word struck her like a weight, filled with their shared disapproval. The entrances appeared nearer, offering a way out, but not comfort. The glass entrances slid open, and a rush of cold air touched Ella's face. Rolf remained inside, arms crossed, making sure she wouldn't turn around. The doors closed behind her, shutting her out into the snow. Her dress provided scant warmth, her flats sank into the powder. She paused there for a moment, the spa's golden light seeming to mock her through the glass, the sounds of laughter reaching her. Ella didn't weep. She didn't utter a curse. She simply retrieved her phone, her fingers remaining steady despite the cold, and composed a message. "They removed my name from the list and my dignity. Is it possible for me to borrow the jet?" She pressed send, placed the phone in her pocket, and proceeded down the snow-covered path, her form disappearing into the storm. Unaware of the impending consequences, the spa continued its operations. The closest village, a collection of chalets located 10 miles down the mountain, was still when Ella reached it. She had secured transportation with a compassionate delivery driver who felt sympathy for her cold appearance. Currently, she sat near a window in a modest inn, enjoying tea, the floorboards creaking and a fire crackling in the hearth. Her dress was damp, her hair matted, but her expression remained calm and resolute. She felt no anger for her own experience. Instead, she felt anger for everyone who had ever been dismissed, judged, or discarded for not fitting an established standard. The spa's actions were not a personal attack, it was a systemic problem, and that was what she intended to address. Her phone vibrated, a response from Ethan. "Jet's on its way. Be there tomorrow. Love you." She smiled subtly, placing the phone down. There was nothing more to explain. Ethan would comprehend. He always did. Ethan Stone was a name recognized with significance across continents. At 40, he led Stone Medical Technologies as CEO, a worldwide enterprise that transformed healthcare through AI-driven diagnostics and reasonably priced prosthetics. Forbes listed him as one of the world's top 5 billionaires, but his financial status represented only a portion of his power. His influence, subtle yet steadfast, impacted policies, provided funding for hospitals, and addressed concerns from critics. He shunned public attention, preferring his actions to convey his message. However, his actions always drew notice, and currently he was acting for Ella. They had first encountered each other 12 years prior, when Ella served as a volunteer nurse in a war-torn region, and Ethan was transporting medical supplies. Her bravery, her unwillingness to yield to disorder, captivated him. She had never been interested in his wealth, only his character. Working in tandem, they had created a life of significance, with her directing relief operations and him developing solutions to preserve lives. Their wealth served as a means, not a display of prestige, and Ella's unassuming nature was her asset, a deliberate choice to remain humble despite their billions. Returning to the spa, the morning arrived bright and clear, the snow shimmering under a faint sun, guests relaxed in warm pools, their laughter drifting through the mountain air. Claire performed her duties, her smile polished as she welcomed a prince from Dubai. Victor moved among the affluent, guaranteeing every desire was fulfilled. Rolf remained near the doors, his posture a quiet deterrent to those not belonging. At 10:03 a.m., a faint tremor disturbed the calm, causing heads to turn and eyes to narrow towards the distant view. A modern Gulfstream G800, its dark, non-reflective exterior shining, began its descent towards the private airstrip located 3 miles away. The inscription E. Stone was displayed in silver on its tail, readily identifiable to those familiar with influence. Rumors quickly rippled through the spa. Could that be Stone's aircraft? A guest questioned, holding her robe. Ethan Stone, here? Claire's smile wavered, her fingers pausing above the keyboard. Victor stopped speaking, his gaze moving to the windows. Rolf stirred restlessly, feeling a change in the atmosphere. A group of black SUVs approached along the mountain road, their tires disturbing the snow. Staff members in formal suits exited the vehicles, establishing a barrier around the spa's entrance. Visitors moved closer to the windows, their matcha left untouched, their gold masks falling. The doors slid open and Ethan Stone entered. His gray wool coat was understated yet custom-made, his dark hair showing hints of silver, his blue eyes as sharp as the alpine wind. Standing 6'2", he possessed a quiet authority that hushed the room. Trailing him, a single aide carried a leather binder, its heft indicating more than just documents. All eyes tracked his progress as he traversed the marble floor, his steps measured, his expression unrevealing. Claire straightened, summoning a smile despite the tremor in her hands. Victor quickly approached, his characteristic charm absent, replaced by a nervous politeness. "Mr. Stone," Victor said, offering his hand. "What an honor. Welcome to Orem Wellness Spa. How may we?" Ethan didn't respond to the greeting. He halted at the reception desk, his eyes fixed on Claire. The room fell silent. "My wife was here yesterday," he stated, his voice quiet, measured, slicing through the stillness. "Ella Stone possessed a confirmed reservation, yet you denied her entry." Claire's face visibly paled. I don't remember," I stated. "You don't recall," Ethan repeated, his voice even but firm. He retrieved a single card from his coat, black with gold embossing. It read, "Ella Stone, Founding Equity Partner, Supreme Elite Membership." He presented it on the counter, the sound distinct in the quiet atmosphere. Victor's eyes widened, his mouth moving silently. "Mr. Stone, it seems there may be a misunderstanding." Ethan raised a hand, stopping him. He placed the leather binder next to the card, the cover displaying the Orem logo. "There is no misunderstanding," he stated. "My wife was a founding investor in 12 of your global properties. She held 20% ownership of this spa, or did until yesterday." He opened the binder, showing a contract filled with legal language. "This morning, she is redirecting all of her investment funds to your competitor, Vitali's Resorts, with immediate effect." A collective intake of breath went through the lounge. Guests held their phones, many already typing quickly. Claire's hands went to her mouth, her gaze searching for Victor. He offered no assistance. His face paled and he seemed to be recalling his career. "Mr. Stone," Victor stammered, "please allow us to rectify this. We were unaware." Ethan stated, his voice now colder, "because you evaluated her based on her dress, not her inherent value. You summoned security to guide her out into a snowstorm. You canceled her booking to preserve your desired appearance." He moved closer, his gaze fixed on Claire. "If you are unable to respect a woman wearing a simple dress, you do not deserve to cater to any woman at all." The statement resonated powerfully. Patrons stirred with discomfort, some averting their gaze, others murmuring in disbelief. A sense of diminishing hope lingered near the entrance, his frown giving way to apprehension. Ethan turned to his assistant, who provided him with a tablet. "The surveillance footage from yesterday," Ethan stated, addressing the room, "is already with my legal team. By tonight, it will be public. The world will see precisely how you treat your guests." Claire's legs gave way and she held onto the counter for support. Victor moved forward, desperation evident in his voice. "Mr. Stone, we will do anything. Reactivate her reservation and extend a lifetime membership offer." Ethan replied, closing the binder decisively, "It's over." He then addressed the security team, a single nod indicating, "Remove the implicated staff." Immediately, the suited guards acted quickly, moving towards Claire, Victor, and Rolf. Claire's objections escalated into cries as she was guided towards the rear exit. Several days following Ethan's visit, Claire was brought before the spa's remaining employees, called for a meeting with Orem's regional director. The crispness of her uniform couldn't hide the paleness of her face, nor repair her shattered confidence. The director's tone was frigid, stating, Your actions concerning Ella Stone have damaged our brand. The termination was immediate, and she was warned. Finding future employment will be difficult, as every spa in Europe is aware of your name. Claire received her final paycheck, her eyes filling with tears, the room filled with silence save for the sound of her resignation letter. She left to whispers, her career now in ruins, the remnants of her self-assurance gone, replaced by a harsh lesson in humility. This was her career. She wept, but no one stepped in. Victor trailed behind, his head lowered, murmuring apologies to the empty air. Rolf did not struggle, simply exited, his boots scraping the floor. Ethan spoke to the remaining staff, his voice steady and firm. This spa's territorial license is revoked. Orum's parent company has been notified. You will close by the end of the month. A moment of shocked quiet followed. Guests looked at each other, some quietly leaving to avoid the consequences, others recording the scene surreptitiously. The spa's golden glow appeared to lessen, its exclusivity weakening because of Ethan's words. He turned to depart, pausing briefly to retrieve Ella's membership card. She didn't require this to demonstrate her value, he stated, placing it in his pocket. You needed it to demonstrate yours, and you did not succeed. As the doors closed behind him, the spa was plunged into turmoil. Managers rushed to contact corporate, guests requested refunds, and employees murmured about their prospects. The news disseminated rapidly, much like snowfall. By noon, Orum's scandal was trending globally, the released video inciting widespread anger on social media platforms. Critics denounced the spa's exclusivity, and Vitali's Resorts declared a new collaboration with Ella Stone, guaranteeing accessible wellness for everyone. 1 week elapsed, and Ella passed the spa's closed entrance, the glass doors now secured, the marble floor appearing somber. Snow accumulated against the walls, concealing the previously prominent Orum logo. The white dress remained, though now paired with boots instead of flats, and her hair was still partially arranged upwards. Her appearance hadn't changed, yet she projected a greater intensity, as if the mountain itself were yielding to her. Ethan stood close, his coat lightly covered in snow, his arm gently touching hers. They stopped, observing the deserted building. On the nearby street corner, Claire was visible in her former Orum uniform, distributing promotional flyers for a discount massage establishment. Their eyes connected briefly with Ella's, then lowered, a blush rising on her cheeks. Ella remained silent, words were unnecessary. Her quietness resonated more powerfully than any reprimand, her composure demonstrating her resilience. Ethan offered a wry smile, drawing nearer. Next time, I'm bringing the entire massage team to our villa, all right? Ella responded with laughter, a cheerful sound against the stillness of the mountains, and they continued their walk, departing the spa and its teachings behind. If this story resonated with you, please like it, share it with others, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content.